Okay, so this week's episode of The Magicians was so crazy, like, I don't even know where to start. So, like, I was gonna do the whole, like, breakdown what each sect, like, what each group does this episode, but so much happened so fast, like, I couldn't even organize it all. Like, it was just so much. So first, we start out the episode, Alice is still trying to run away from the lamprey, and not Quentin, uh, Elliot and his family are still, like, on their boat on the way home to Fillory, and Julia is, like, trying to figure out how the best way to help Katie is, and, like, how, like, what they need. And so, like, Alice's whole storyline, pretty much, like, not her whole storyline, hopefully she has more to come this series, but the lamprey storyline closes a little, for the most part, in this episode, because we find out that, the lamprey that infected Quentin at the end of last episode, like, has Quentin follow Alice home, and Alice, like, she goes home to her parents, and she's always had this, like, weird relationship with them. Like, she's always been snipey towards her mom, like, just out of spite. But this episode, she goes home, and since her parents were magicians, and, like, they were successful magicians, like, now that magic is gone, they are just destitute. Like, how, like, the economy was back in, like, 2008, when the economy bubble popped or whatever? Like, that's, like, their house is in ruins. Like, they're on, like, their taxes are due. Like, they are about to lose their house, and, like, they haven't worked normal jobs, like, since, like, probably ever. And so now, like, they're all, like, her mom is a alcoholic mess, because she just cannot handle life without magic, and it's like, bro, shit is real. Like, if you were a magician your whole life, your parents were a magician, and then now all of a sudden magic just doesn't exist, like, how do you continue functioning like that? But she is just, like, literally taking it day by day with her friend Carol, who Alice electrocutes because she thinks is infected with the lamprey. Turns out Carol was just a bitch that cats don't like, and so that's why the cat didn't like her. But Alice is with her mom, and her mom is trying to cope with the loss of magic and the fact that she knew the second that Alice was revived that she was alive, but Alice never called, she never tried to talk to them or anything, like, and she just now showed up on their doorstep, and it's been months, and so she's kind of dealing with that pain also. Like, my daughter, who was dead, is now alive, didn't want to see me at all, and that's kind of hard for her to deal with. And so Alice runs to her dad, and her dad automatically jumps on board. She's like, oh, it's a lamprey? Okay, let's go get this motherfucker. But, which is even more hard for her mom, because it's like, why are you just all of a sudden just jumping on her bandwagon? Like, she comes to terms with it, like, she gets that, like, a lamprey is a dangerous animal that is trying to kill them, and so, like, they're all on board, but Quentin shows up there, and he is the one who's actually infected, not their friend Carol, and so he's infected, and they go on this, like, witch hunt, and, like, for lack of a better term, for this lamprey, and they're trying to figure out who it is, and for some reason, like, it just decides it doesn't want to be in Quentin anymore. Like, it's that smart. It's like, I see better opportunity. Like, her parents are going to be a better opportunity for me to intrude. And so he jumps out of Quentin, and Alice goes and finds him, and then Quentin is just fine, and they're trying to help save everything. And then it ends up that the lamprey was in her dad this whole time, and he has this whole speech like, you know exactly why I'm here. And he forces Alice to confess to everyone that she was this huge monster as a nymph. And at first Alice tries to say, like, oh, I was conducting experiments, I was just trying to seek knowledge, but then at the end she reveals, like, oh no, it wasn't trying to seek knowledge or anything, like, I just like the way they look when they die. They show pretty colors. And, like, that just infuriates the nymph, but Alice is already in a power position, so she kills the nymph, and she's left with, like, everyone has been electrocuted at this point, because she thought the nymph was in everybody at some point in time, but she wasn't, and so she just electrocuted everybody, and the nymph escapes, and she kills the nymph, and as the nymph dies, we see those pretty colors she was talking about, and the look in Alice's eyes, it's like, that she was just trying to, like, those pretty colors, it sparks something in her that she doesn't want to admit is still in her. Like, that dark side of the nymph that, like, just tortures and kills for pure pleasure is still inside her. And so that's what she's trying to come to grips with now. And she tells Quentin this because Quentin is like, I love you. Like, it sounds like last time you told me to go away, it was just to save me from the the lamprey. But really, it's because, you know, you're an evil monster still. And so she's like, I can't be with you and be this new person that I am because you only see me as the old person, which I think is really admirable that she, like, recognized that that was what was happening. And so, like, that's basically their whole storyline. It's just Alice realizing that she is still the things she's done, and, you know, Quentin will never be able to understand that the way that it actually was for her. And so, like, that's how they kind of start end things for them. I really do hope they end things for them, because I'm kind of tired of this will they, won't they? But anyways, moving on to Fillory. So, Elliot, Fen, and Faye, and the map maker are on their way back from the island where they got the key. And at first, Elliot's like, this key does nothing. This old guy was able to control this entire village with this key, but I can't do anything with it. And so he's like a little bummed out about that, but they're like, whatever, we just gotta get home. And so they're sailing on their ship, and then they get attacked by pirates. Literal pirates in Fillory. And they get attacked, and the pirates board the ship, and they're like, oh, we gotta go. We gotta go hide. Like, so, like, him, Fen, and Faye, and the royal map maker, they go hide in their royal quarters, and Fen is so badass. She's like, Frey, get behind me. She has 2 knives. She is ready to fight. And she is like, we can take them. Like, we will fight to the death. Like, you know, we gotta do this. Like, and she's like, and Frey is like, why are they attacking in the first place? Like, aren't you the king? Because, like, the Fairy Queen, nobody messes with. So she's, like, used to that level of power. And Elliot, without magic, he doesn't really have that level of power, and Fen tries to explain this, but Elliot is like, you know, when it comes to these situations, I gotta survive. And so he's looking around like there has to be another way out. And then out of nowhere, in the wall, this boat, like, this keyhole arrives, and he's like, Elliot's like, where did that keyhole just come from? And so he goes and unlocks the door, and he unlocks the keyhole, and this magical door appears in the side of the boat. And so they go in it, and then we don't know what happened to them. Like, this entire episode, they are never seen from again. Like, who knows where they went. But we flash back to Margot, who is still at court, and she is trying to get these mushroom fields planted, because that's what the Fairy Queen said she wanted, and she can't because her followers, they don't really respect her because she's a woman. She's like not the High King. And so, like, they're, like, giving a lot of pushback because they're like, you want us to rip up the good corn or whatever food they have planted there and plant unedible mushrooms. And she's like, yes, goddammit, like, that's what the Fairy Queen wanted, so that's what you're gonna do. And, like, why are you questioning me so hard? And so, anyways, so she's fighting with Tick, her head advisor, about this. Like, why can't you guys get this done? Like, you're gonna get us all screwed because you can't just do this. And then another advisor comes in saying that Elliot's boat has been captured, and she's like, what the fuck? This is just what I needed, because on this whole time she's been, like, on the brink of tears because, like, shit is just not working out for her, and it's just a real struggle. But, so anyway, so she's like, we have to get to them, and their boat can only get to them in a week because there's no magic, so they can't speed up the boat. And so, since it's gonna take a week, she's like, fuck all that. And so she goes to find the Fairy Queen, and the Fairy Queen is like, I guess I could, just cause, you know, why not? You know, how are you gonna plant, Margot is like, how are we gonna plant mushrooms and find earthworms for you if we're all dead? And so she's like, I guess I'll go help you guys. And so she has a Pegasus, like the literal bird horse creature. She has a Pegasus fly Margot and her 2 advisors to the pirate ship, to the Muckjack, which is the name of Fillory's ship and the pirate ship. And they fly there, and the Fairy Queen goes with them just because she's like, let's see how this goes. And while there, Tick, one of her main advisors, like, I can steal your eyeball from the Fairy Queen, because the Fairy Queen, she has this little, not necklace, bracelet, bracelet with her Margot's eyeball hanging out from it, and she, like, constantly taunts? She constantly taunts Margot with the fact, like, I have your eye, like, you know? And so she is over there just sitting with her eyeball, chilling, the Fairy Queen is, and Tech is like, I can steal that for you. Like, that's what we do. Me, my family, that we steal. And Margot's like, okay, go ahead, steal it. Meanwhile, Margot's like, I gotta go talk to these pirates and figure out where Elliot is. And so Margot goes to talk to the Pirate King, which is actually a woman, so technically she's the Pirate Queen, but she's like, I'm in charge. I can be called whatever I want. And so she's like, I'm the Pirate King. And they have, like, this saucy little, like, lesbian, bisexual, like, chemistry going on. And they're, like, giving each other sex eyes. And, like, you know, we gotta handle business first. But after business is handled, you know, I'm not opposed to some pleasure. And that's a really fun scene. And so Margot is like, I need to see the king. Where is he? And the Pirate Queen, or Pirate King, she leads them to where the royal chambers where they were, but when they get there, they only see the magic map maker pretending to be Elliot, and nobody else is there. And so Margot's just like, okay, she figures out what happened, and she's just like, we're going to sail away now, you know? Let's make a deal real quick. We'll give you some money, you give us our lives, and everybody's happy. But then the Pirate King drops this bombshell on them that since the trees are alive, and the trees that make the boat are alive, and the pirate boat is a boy, and the Fillory boat is a girl, and the boy boat was to get with the girl boat, but they can't get with the girl boat unless Margot, the queen, allows it, and they tell her that if she allows this, like, the boat will have PTSD, and there's a high likelihood that she will never be able to sail again. And Margot's like, wait, so I have to let the pirate boat rape our boat in order for the crew to live? And Margot was like, I can't just sign her death warrant like that. Like, I can't just do that to her and allow this to happen to her without talking to her. So Margot goes down and talks to the boat and is like, listen, this is what's gonna happen. It's like, either, you know, you do this and we all get to sail away, but, you know, you're gonna be affected by it hardcore, or you don't, and we have to try and find our way out of this, and we probably won't win. And she makes this big, heartwarming speech to the tree, and the tree, like, they don't show any type of response, but the Fairy Queen was listening, and the Fairy Queen goes up to Margot, and she's like, you know, I heard your speech, and so I solved your problem. You were very, like, I like the way you handled the situation, you know, with, like, compassion and understanding of everything that was involved, and, like, that's what, you know, queens need to do. But at the same time, you know, she's like, I know you stole your eye back, and that's mine. That was a part of our deal. And so the Fairy Queen is like, you need to give me the eye back, because that's what we made a deal on. And Margot's like, no, it's my eye. Like, you don't get to have this part of me. And so instead, like, she goes to hand over the eye, like, just, like, give it back. But instead, she, like, crushes it. And so she can't, the Fairy Queen can't use the eye to spy on Margot anymore. And it's just like, wow. Like, you just ruined your eyeball. Like, because, like, before she did it, like, if she found out if magic was restored, the eye could be put back and she could have just two eyes again. But once she crushed it, it was like, that's it. You are one-eyed forever, no matter what magic comes back. Like, that's gone. And the Fairy Queen is like, I have other ways of spying on you. So this was futile, but infuriating. And so after that, like, the Fairy Queen is like, I'm gonna leave you with your mute servant, because she threatened whoever stole the eye that she was going to hurt them, but Margot wouldn't tell her exactly who stole it, so it wasn't Tick, her main advisor, that got punished, but the second advisor that came along that got punished, and he got his tongue ripped out, and Margot just kind of let it happen. She's like, hey, fuck it. And so the Fairy Queen leaves them all there, and Tick is like, thank you for not ratting me out, and Margot's like, shut the fuck up. And so, now Margot has one eye and has no clue where Elliot is because we haven't seen or heard from him at all since he walked through the portal. But after that, we see Julie, Katie, and Penny. And at this point in time, Katie has the bright idea to summon a demon. So she's like, the gods won't help us. So it's like, who else has just as much power as the gods, but might actually be helpful? And so they figure out like a demon. And so they find this demon, and Katie has Julia get these supplies because she's like, either you do this or you don't. Like, this is our only option. Like, I can't be, safe. Like, ooh, it's a demon. We don't really want to work with demons. She's like, we don't have that luxury anymore. Like, Penny is dying, and we need to make sure he stays alive. And so this is our only option. And so they summon this demon. He's actually a pretty cool dude. He's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he, like, eats the cancer, like, that's what he likes, and so he's like, yeah, I'll go ahead and remove this for you, and so he ends up removing the cancer from Penny, but Penny, he, like, goes to the astral plane, because, like, the pain is just too unbearable, but, like, once the cancer is finished, and he's all, like, he, like, closes up his wound, because he, like, pulls out, like, this softball size of just black cancer, and he, like, pulls it out, and then he, like, sews up the scar, and is like, he should be fine now, but then he's not fine. He just stops breathing, and then, like, we splash over, and in the corner, we can see Penny's ghost, like, oh, that's not good. So it's like, he's still gonna be in the series, and, like, they're probably gonna figure out a way to save his actual life also, and, like, how to put his spirit back into his body. But at the end of the episode, it's like, he's dead, Katie's devastated, Julia is like, fuck, this sucks, but, there's no magic, I can't fix it. And so, we end the episode with everyone just sort of like, shit happened, where do we go from here? Because, Alice has confronted the fact that she's a total monster and has forced Q to confront the fact that she was a monster and still is. And so they're like, where do we go from here? Margot has no eye and doesn't know where Elliot is. And so she's like, well, we gotta sail back to Fillory. It's gonna take a week. So let's figure out, like, how the Fairy Queen is gonna punish us, And then Julia and Katie are like, what do we do now that Penny, like, has died from this? Like, it's like, is there another chapter? Like, do they still have the book? Like, are they gonna, like, are they gonna go on the quest for the second key on the next episode? Is that how it's gonna be? Like, every other episode we get to see a key, So it has me excited for the next episode, which is what I love about this series, is that every episode I'm just ready to see, like, what happens next. And, like, this was just a really fun episode, and I'm glad you guys were here to talk about it with me, because, like, every character had at least one moment of just badassery and just, like, fuck it. And it was really nice. And so, if you enjoy The Magicians as much as I do, go ahead and like this video and stay tuned for next week, and so we can see what happens next time. Like where are they gonna go from here? Like how, like, what's next? I'm excited to see that, and I hope you are too. So, thanks for watching, and if you got this far, go ahead and subscribe. So, I'll see you guys next week. Bye!